Okay, an important factor for an SN1 as well as an E1 is the substitution of the carbocation. So carbocations are intermediates. They are unstable. If your carbocation is too unstable, it won't form. And of course, if you can't make your carbocation, you're never going to get your SN1 or E1 reaction to go. So there are limitations on the SN1 and E1 reactions. So let's look at the example that we did before. We took this bromide, this tertiary halide, reacted it with methanol, and we made this compound. And this went through the this carbocation. And that's a tertiary carbocation. That's a really good carbocation. And when I say really good, I mean it's like a really good punch in the face. Okay, nobody likes getting punched. And carbocations are inherently unstable. So there's no such thing as a great carbocation. But for a carbocation, this is a really good one. Okay, but I'm not a fan of any carbocations. So here's this tertiary carbocation. Let's just write out this same reaction. What if we want to do the same SN1 reaction with the secondary halide instead of our tertiary halide? Well, to do this, this would be the product, and you should go back through the mechanism we showed for this top reaction and go through it on this lower reaction to practice going through the mechanism. But if we did this reaction, we would form this product by way of this carbocation. This is, oh really, that means nothing. Really good. Really what? This would go through a secondary carbocation. Secondary carbons are not good. Okay, they're okay. They're achievable. But I wouldn't be nearly as excited about this second reaction because we rely on a secondary carbocation. Secondary carbocations are very hard to form. So let's do this one different. Let's do a primary halide. To get a primary halide to go, we would have to form a primary carbocation. It's not going to happen. Now, you'll look at textbooks. Textbooks will say that you can do this. It's just really hard. The fact is, it's hard enough that for all practical purposes, they simply don't work. And don't even talk about getting a methyl group to have its bromide leave or any halide to make a methyl carbocation. This is never. Now, you know, there are people out there who specialize in doing things that folks say can never happen, but the fact is it's incredibly impractical. So the degree of substitution, and we saw this when we talked about stability of intermediates, tertiary carbocations are more stable than secondary, more stable than primary, and more stable than methyl carbocations. And when you run these reactions, basically we'll be able to get tertiary halides to undergo an SN1. That's just fine. Secondary, I will reluctantly say that those will go. But primary and methyl, we're not going to see SN1 reactions on those compounds. So when we talk about SN1s, we're limited to molecules that can form carbocations, and those are going to be limited to the tertiary and secondary carbocations. And that is also going to hold true for the E1 reaction, because the E1 also relies on making a carbocation intermediate.